There are thousands of Black people who have contributed to the progress of this world, all the way back to biblical days and ancient history. I feel like the month of February is an opportunity for us to showcase who we are and our historic value as a people. We have inventors who are responsible for everything from electronics. We have the cell phone, which was created by Dr. Henry Sampson and Mr. Frederick Jones, who created the air conditioning unit. He created the air conditioning unit, the internal combustion engine, and refrigeration controls. And lastly, I am proud to say that I work for Dr. Mayola Rouser, the first Black dean here at Goldfarb School of Nursing at Barnes Jewish College. Dr. Rouser was the first known Black nurse in the world to hold a PhD and a DNP.
I would like to highlight two African Americans who broke barriers. The first one is Carter Woodson. He received a bachelor's and a master's from the University of Chicago and a doctorate from Harvard. And he was an American historian, and he was the first one who introduced African American studies to scholars. It was apparent that the public did not know the contribution that African Americans made to American history, and he started what later became Black History Month, and he put it in February because of the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. First African-American graduate nurse. Her name is Mary Eliza Mahoney. She graduated from the New England Hospital for Women and Children in Massachusetts. And this was the first hospital in the United States that offered a nursing program. It was 16 months long. Before she can start the nursing program, she had to raise money, so she served as a janitor, cook, washerwoman, and nursing assistant. And she's also the founder of the National Association for Colored Graduate Nurses. Let's break barriers.
To me, Black History Month is a time to learn. For instance, did you know that Maya Angelou, one of America's greatest poets, was born in St. Louis? A great quote from Maya Angelou is, "I'm convinced of this, good done anywhere is good done everywhere. For a change, start by speaking to people rather than walking by them like they're stones that don't matter. As long as you're breathing, it's never too late to do some good."
I've always, throughout the years, been taught Black history at home from my family, as opposed to learning it in school. And so as an adult, I make it my business, I make it a priority to teach, continue to educate myself about Black history, be a component of Black history, a contributor to Black history, and also teach my child about Black history and what it means to further carry on this tradition, what it further means to be a contributor to Black history. People in history who have inspired me, my mother being one, Black woman, raised two Black boys in North St. Louis. The values that she instilled in me, they instilled so much into me, which made me the person, the Black man I am right now. And so I'm contributing to Black history as we speak.
And the first is Maya Angelou, and the quote that a lot of people share, which is that people will remember what you say and or they may not remember what you say or what you do, but they're going to remember how you make them feel. That is kind of how I try to live my life. And hearing that quote from her a long time ago is kind of what led me to that. The other person I wanted to mention is George Washington Carver, which a lot of people know that he did a lot of work with peanuts, but they don't always remember that he is the man who figured out how to do crop rotation so that our soils didn't get depleted and we could continue to grow good crops. And he has worked with a lot of people across the planet. Went and spoke with Gandhi and helped him with some of the crop stuff that they were doing in India at that time. Worked with some people in Africa on their crops and things there. And that's just for somebody who started out life getting kidnapped with his mom and his sister by slave traders and then getting rescued by the people that originally owned his family who raised him, and to go on and do that kind of stuff is just amazing to me. Yep.
When it comes to Black history, it can be talked about throughout the entire year, but February gives us one calendar month to recognize all of the accomplishments of our Black African American ancestors, as well as the ones that are currently making history around the world today. One, we can continue to acknowledge how important Black History Month is, as well as continue to deliver the message behind why it is a part of history today. Sometimes we need to know the hows and the whys in order to gain a full understanding about a subject so sensitive. People need to know that if it wasn't for civil rights leaders such as Dr. Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, and many more, that the world wouldn't be as integrated and diverse as we are today. Other things that we can do to help out is participate more in our community, volunteer, get involved, donate to businesses, support Black businesses, register to vote, and even go as high as contacting your state representative to end racial profiling. Those are some of the things that we can do to help out in our community.
So who is important to me when I think about Black history? And I'm going to tell you, it's truly a nephrologist that I work with when I was probably a little, maybe like 30 years ago. His name is Dr. Stanley Buck, and I worked in his office as his nurse practitioner as well as his nurse practitioner and his office manager. And why I mention him is that he really taught me what it meant to give back. You know, we took care of patients that were had end-stage renal disease, and if you all know what happens with that is that they require hemodialysis or get a transplant in order to sustain life. And unfortunately, a lot of them look like us. You know, majority of the patients who were in these dialysis centers were 90% Black, African Americans, and he taught me, he said, you know, we can prevent this if we can really connect with our people, with our community, to assist them with better health, with, you know, taking more care of what they eat, what they do. And that really started me thinking about, you know what, I can be like him. You know, he was very philanthropic, and actually some of the students who are here now in an internship from the Collegiate School of Medicine and Biosciences is because of Dr. Buck and Dr. Will Ross. You know, they gave back to the community, and they are on the board and really helped with those type of programs to have those that are in that community educated and give back and serve in those communities.
Black history for me is about reflecting on all the trailblazers who've gone ahead of us despite adversity and made a name for themselves and paved the way for others. I've always been particularly fond of Black business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs, especially Black business owners who have had the odds stacked against them and not been given the same opportunities as all, but yet was still successful. One of my favorites, always Madam C.J. Walker, philanthropist, self-made millionaire. Of course, we know her for her hair care and her beauty products. Michael Jordan, everyone loves his shoes. He was famous for his talent, but of course he became rich from his knowledge and wisdom and learning to invest, making the right investments. Robert Reed, church He was a founder of the Solvent Savings Bank, one of the first black banks in the state of Tennessee, and at the time, one of the biggest landowners of both black and white. Tyler Perry, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and O.W. Gurley, one of the founders of the Black Wall Street. He also owned Gurley's Hotel and a chain of grocery stores for over 20 years. Some names you may know, others you may not, but this is Black history for me, when being able to overcome things where you were dealt the short hand.
I chose to celebrate myself during Black History Month because as a young Black woman, I have achieved the accomplishment to attain my second degree in Bachelor's of Nursing this coming up April. I say that because as African American woman, one thing I did realize on certain medications, going in, you have to understand that certain medications could affect a certain ethnicity and race. We also have to advocate for our patients. So seeing color, you have to advocate. You have to see color to advocate because that's who you're advocating for a majority of the time. It could be a different color, it could be a different ethnicity. Sometimes it could just be a different community that you're advocating for.
There are many individuals who deserve recognition in this world for their many abilities, accomplishments, and reputations for the advancement of worldwide endeavors. The month of February is an opportunity for us to showcase who we are and our historic value as a people.